Welcome. Before you overlook this Jefferson nickel as just another everyday coin, take a closer look, because a few subtle details can make all the difference, and by the end of this story, you'll understand why collectors pay such close attention to the finest authenticated examples. First coin. The 1964 D. Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that many people have handled without giving it a second thought. Yet it continues to attract the attention of experienced collectors who know that ordinary-looking coins can sometimes conceal extraordinary stories. At first glance, it appears to be another well-worn 5-cent piece from the mid-1960s, carrying the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson that millions of Americans recognize instantly. However, behind its modest appearance lies a fascinating combination of history, wartime legacy, massive production, and the occasional exceptional survivor that has captured the interest of the numismatic community for decades. As this story unfolds, you'll discover why some authenticated examples have achieved remarkable collector premiums, what characteristics separate common pieces from truly desirable ones, and how experts evaluate the factors that ultimately determine whether a 1964 D. Jefferson nickel is simply pocket change or a coin worthy of serious attention. To understand why this coin exists, it's important to step back into the United States of 1964, a nation experiencing enormous political, economic, and cultural change. The country was adjusting after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, while economic growth fueled expanding commerce across every state. Everyday transactions depended heavily on coins, and demand for small-denomination currency reached unprecedented levels. The Denver Mint was tasked with producing staggering quantities of Jefferson nickels to keep pace with the nation's growing economy. Unlike silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars that would soon undergo dramatic composition changes because of rising silver prices, the Jefferson nickel remained relatively stable in its metallic content. That consistency made it an essential workhorse of American commerce, circulating through grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, vending machines, and countless cash registers across the country. The Denver Mint identified its production with the familiar D Mint mark positioned on the reverse of the coin to the right of Monticello, the historic Virginia home designed by Thomas Jefferson himself. In 1964, the Denver facility struck well over 1 billion Jefferson nickels, making this one of the highest mintage issues in the entire series. Such enormous production means that worn examples remain relatively common today, but collectors understand that mintage alone never tells the complete story. Mass production often came with compromises in strike quality, die maintenance, and manufacturing consistency. Many nickels left the presses with weaker details than collectors would have preferred, while only a much smaller percentage displayed exceptionally sharp strikes and pristine surfaces. Those better preserved examples eventually became the coins that advanced collectors sought to add to registry-quality collections. The coin itself measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, weighs exactly 5 grams, and consists of an alloy made from 75% copper and 25% nickel. This durable composition has served the United States well since the Jefferson nickel debuted in 1938, because it withstands decades of circulation without the rapid wear associated with softer metals. The plain edge distinguishes it from reeded silver denominations, while its metallic blend produces the familiar pale gray appearance collectors recognize immediately. On the obverse, sculptor Felix Schlag portrayed Thomas Jefferson facing left with remarkable simplicity, accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date 1964, and the small star separating the motto from the date. The reverse features Monticello in elegant symmetry, surrounded by EPLUBUSUNUM, United States of America, and 5 cents. Together, these elements create one of the longest-running and most recognizable coin designs in American history. Although billions entered circulation, relatively few remained untouched through decades of everyday use. Countless examples accumulated scratches, contact marks, corrosion, discoloration, and environmental damage, while passing from one pocket to another. This is why professional grading becomes so important. Organizations such as the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company evaluate each coin according to internationally recognized standards, assigning numerical grades ranging from Poor 1 to Mint State 70. For the 1964D Jefferson Nickel, the distinction between Mint State 63 and Mint State 67 can represent a dramatic difference in collector demand. A coin that retains its original mint luster, crisp surfaces, and minimal contact marks commands substantially greater interest than one showing even slight evidence of circulation. Professional authentication also confirms that the coin has not been altered, cleaned, repaired, or otherwise compromised. One feature that advanced Jefferson Nickel collectors discuss frequently is the concept of full steps. On the reverse of the coin, Monticello includes a staircase leading to its entrance. On many coins, especially those produced during periods of extremely high output, these steps appear weak or partially blended because of insufficient strike pressure or worn dies. When all or nearly all of the individual steps remain sharply defined, grading services may award the coveted full steps designation. This seemingly minor detail significantly influences desirability because it demonstrates superior strike quality. Even among coins with identical dates and mint marks, a certified full steps example often attracts considerably stronger bidding than one lacking this characteristic. For registry set collectors competing for the finest certified collections, such distinctions become critically important. Mint eras and die varieties introduce another fascinating dimension to the 1964D Jefferson Nickel. While the overwhelming majority were struck correctly, authenticated examples displaying dramatic off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, struck-through errors, or significant die cracks can command impressive premiums over ordinary specimens. Doubled dies are another area of interest, although they require careful examination under proper magnification because minor machine doubling is frequently mistaken for genuine hub doubling. Professional attribution is essential before assigning any additional value to a suspected variety. Collectors should remain cautious whenever extraordinary claims accompany uncertified coins. Since damage occurring after the coin left the mint is often misrepresented as a rare mint error, verification by recognized grading specialists remains the safest approach before assuming that an unusual-looking nickel possesses significant collector value. When discussing values, context is everything. The typical circulated 1964D Jefferson Nickel generally carries only modest value because of its immense production numbers. However, authenticated mint state examples with attractive eye appeal can sell for hundreds of dollars, while particularly well-preserved coins certified in elite grades occasionally reach approximately $1,250 to $2,100 depending on current market demand. Certified full-step specimens with exceptional preservation have realized prices approaching or exceeding $3,800 in competitive auctions when multiple collectors pursued the same outstanding example. Those impressive results should never be interpreted as applying to every 1964D nickel. They represent coins that combine outstanding condition, expert authentication, strong collector demand, and in many cases, remarkable strike quality that survived untouched for decades after leaving the Denver Mint. Because valuable coins attract attention, counterfeiters and deceptive alterations remain an ongoing concern within the numismatic marketplace. Fortunately, genuine 1964D Jefferson nickels possess numerous characteristics that specialists examine carefully. Accurate weight, diameter, metallic composition, edge profile, die markers, surface texture, and mint mark placement all contribute to authentication. Collectors should also watch for coins that have been harshly cleaned, artificially toned, polished, or chemically altered in an attempt to improve appearance. Such treatments almost always reduce desirability rather than enhance it. Proper preservation begins with handling the coin only by its edges, avoiding fingerprints on the surfaces, and storing it in inert holders or archival quality capsules that minimize exposure to moisture, airborne contaminants, and rapid temperature changes. These simple precautions help preserve both appearance and long-term collector appeal. Today, the 1964 Jefferson Nickel remains a perfect example of how an everyday American coin can occupy a fascinating place in both history and modern collecting. It reminds us that rarity is rarely determined by age alone, and that condition, strike quality, certified authenticity, surviving population, and sustained collector interest ultimately shape a coin's market performance. While billions were struck, only a tiny fraction have survived in the exceptional state that advanced collectors pursue so enthusiastically. Every authenticated high-grade example represents not only careful preservation, but also a tangible connection to a pivotal era in American history when the nation's economy, coinage system, and manufacturing capacity were evolving rapidly. The combination of historical significance, technical craftsmanship, and selective rarity ensures that the finest 1964 Jefferson nickels will continue to earn respect among collectors, even as ordinary examples remain familiar reminders of the coins that once passed through millions of American hands every single day. Next coin. The 1981 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that quietly slipped into circulation with almost no public attention, yet decades later, it has earned a respected place among collectors who appreciate that rarity is often hidden in plain sight rather than announced with fanfare. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary 5-cent piece that countless Americans once carried in their pockets, but its story reaches far beyond everyday commerce. Behind its familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson lies a fascinating chapter of American minting history, one shaped by changing economic conditions, production challenges, and the relentless search by collectors for the finest surviving examples. As this documentary unfolds, you'll discover why this seemingly common coin has become increasingly collectible, what characteristics determine its true collector value, and what authenticated examples have achieved when offered in the competitive marketplace. By the time 1981 arrived, the United States was navigating a period of significant economic uncertainty. Inflation remained stubbornly high, interest rates had climbed to extraordinary levels, and the nation was adjusting to a new presidential administration under Ronald Reagan. Manufacturing costs continued to rise, affecting nearly every aspect of American industry, including coin production. Despite these challenges, the nation's economy still depended heavily on low-denomination coinage for everyday transactions. Jefferson nickels passed through supermarkets, vending machines, public transportation systems, restaurants, and banks by the millions each day. While collectors often focus on silver coins or dramatic commemoratives, the Jefferson nickel quietly continued fulfilling its practical purpose, proving that even the most ordinary circulating coins could eventually become objects of serious numismatic study. The Philadelphia Mint produced the 1981 Jefferson nickel, and unlike Philadelphia issues struck before 1980, this coin proudly displays the P mint mark on the obverse to the right of Jefferson's portrait. This relatively recent addition reflected an important change in modern American coinage, allowing collectors to identify the coin's mint of origin more easily than in earlier decades. During 1981, Philadelphia struck more than 657 million Jefferson nickels, an enormous production figure that initially suggested these coins would remain plentiful forever. Yet experienced collectors understand that survival in exceptional condition tells a far different story than raw mintage numbers. Most entered heavy circulation immediately, accumulating scratches, contact marks, dull surfaces, and where that permanently separated ordinary examples from the remarkably preserved pieces now sought by advanced specialists. The coin retains the traditional specifications that have defined the Jefferson nickel for generations. It is composed of an alloy containing 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs exactly 5 grams, measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and features a smooth, plain edge without reeds. That durable alloy was selected because it could withstand years of circulation while remaining economical to manufacture. The obverse features Thomas Jefferson facing left, accompanied by the inscriptions "In God We Trust," Liberty, the date 1981, and the Philadelphia Mint mark. The reverse presents Monticello, Jefferson's beloved Virginia estate, surrounded by EPLUBUSUNUM, United States of America, and 5 cents. Both sides reflect the enduring artistry of sculptor Felix Schlag, whose original design debuted in 1938 and became one of the longest-running circulating coin designs in United States history. Although the design remained familiar, production quality varied throughout the year, creating subtle differences that continue to attract collector attention. The Mint relied on high-speed coining presses capable of striking thousands of coins every hour, and those presses inevitably experienced die wear over extended production runs. Fresh dies generally produced stronger details, sharper lettering, and brighter mint luster, while worn dies often resulted in softer strikes that diminished fine architectural details on Monticello. Collectors frequently examine the building's columns, rooflines, windows, and especially the famous front steps when evaluating strike quality. Coins displaying crisp detail throughout these areas are significantly less common than average examples, making superior strikes especially desirable among registry-set competitors. Professional grading plays a decisive role in determining collector value because tiny differences in preservation can produce dramatic differences in desirability. Third-party grading services carefully inspect each coin's surfaces, luster, strike, eye appeal, and originality before assigning a numerical grade on the Sheldon scale. Most surviving 1981 P. Jefferson Nickels exist in circulated grades or lower mint state levels because they experienced decades of normal handling. However, coins certified as mint state 66 or higher become increasingly difficult to locate with clean surfaces and strong visual appeal. Collectors also pay close attention to the coveted full steps designation, awarded only when the staircase leading to Monticello's entrance displays nearly complete, uninterrupted detail. Since many coins were struck with weaker reverse details, authentic full steps examples remain especially competitive within the Jefferson Nickel collecting community. As collector interest intensified over the years, auction results began illustrating just how much condition influences value. A typical circulated 1981 P nickel generally remains worth only its face value or slightly more, but certified mint state examples with exceptional eye appeal can enter an entirely different market. Authenticated coins graded near the top of the population have sold for approximately $1,180 to $2,450, depending on certification, strike quality, originality, and collector demand at the time of sale. Outstanding full steps examples certified in elite grades have realized prices approaching or exceeding $3,900 in strong auction environments where registry collectors competed aggressively. These impressive results should never be interpreted as representing every 1981 P. Jefferson nickel. They reflect only the finest authenticated survivors whose preservation places them among the best-known examples. Mint errors provide another layer of fascination, although genuine examples are considerably less common than internet rumors often suggest. Collectors occasionally encounter authenticated off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, struck-through errors, or dramatic die cracks originating during the minting process. Minor die chips and other small production anomalies also exist, though they typically command far smaller premiums. Claims involving doubled dies require particular caution because mechanical doubling is frequently mistaken for genuine hub doubling by inexperienced collectors. Reliable attribution from recognized grading services or respected variety specialists remains essential before assigning significant value to any unusual-looking coin. Careful examination under magnification often separates authentic mint-made errors from post-mint damage caused by circulation, tools, or environmental exposure. Because high-grade Jefferson nickels now command meaningful premiums, collectors should also understand the importance of authentication and proper preservation. Genuine coins possess consistent weight, correct metallic composition, accurate dimensions, and characteristic design details that specialists verify during examination. Although counterfeit 1981p nickels are not widespread compared with rarer American coins, altered or deceptively treated examples do appear in the marketplace. Harsh cleaning, artificial tunning, polishing, and surface repair frequently reduce collector value even when the underlying coin is genuine. Preserving an attractive specimen requires careful handling by the edges, avoiding fingerprints on the surfaces, and storing the coin inside archival quality holders or inert capsules that protect it from humidity, chemical contaminants, and accidental abrasion. These straightforward precautions help preserve both originality and long-term market appeal. The enduring fascination with the 1981p Jefferson nickel ultimately demonstrates that the true rarity of a coin extends far beyond its original production numbers. Hundreds of millions left the Philadelphia Mint, yet only a remarkably small percentage survived with the pristine surfaces, brilliant luster, sharp strike, and complete design details demanded by today's advanced collectors. That reality explains why exceptional certified examples continue attracting attention whenever they appear at auction, while ordinary circulated pieces remain familiar reminders of everyday American commerce during the early 1980s. The coin serves as a lasting connection to a pivotal economic period in United States history and illustrates one of the most important lessons in numismatics: authenticity, preservation, eye appeal, grading, and collector demand, not simply age or mintage, are the factors that transform an ordinary circulating nickel into a genuinely desirable collectible worthy of serious competition among knowledgeable enthusiasts.